The cycle continues. My 7th grader filled out this career planning worksheet as part of some kind of career, personal finance consoling thing through his school. The idea, I guess, is to introduce kids to budgeting, etc. After selecting their career, the students are given these numbers to plug into a worksheet to see what their budgeting would look like in real life. Some highlights. Job architect degree, bachelor's salary $120,000, monthly housing $600, monthly cable $30. No mention of debt. Needing repayment. Remember, these numbers were not made up by a 7th grader, but given to them. Fortunately, this did allow us to have a real discussion regarding finances. If this is what children are being taught to expect, aim for, then there is no question they are being set up to either fail or see themselves as a failure, just so they too can get bludgeoned with the old, well, only if you worked harder, longer, better, routine. At the very least, a standard budget for any job requiring a college degree needs to include a student loan. And now is the time to teach them how student loans, versus other types of loans and debts, are regulated. I'm glad your kid got that, but I feel for those that didn't. My high school did this to us in the late 2000s. We were shown all these job listings with the salaries you were expecting and the cost of college. They were telling us that we would graduate from college in 2012 and make $80K a year out of the gates with a comp sci degree. I eventually switched to marketing and business, which I had been told would make $50 to $60K a year. Starting, they paid me $13.58 an hour for a 6-month contract that ran nearly 10 months. I had moved out of an abusive household and was barely making it while having to dip into some savings to make month's end. I tried to save for a house for 5 years and could barely break $5,000, which was just enough for my emergency fund. So I'm 28 with nearly nothing to my name, and I'm only able to rent, being told that I'm not skilled enough and that the availability of labor in the market meant I couldn't get paid more. At one job I told them I was burnt out and they pulled me in and tried to discipline me for not being happy. I had been there for 5 years. When I told them that nothing I was doing in my day-to-day for the last 2 years was in my job description, they said it was because it had all other duties as required as the last bullet. I asked if my entire existence and job duties are contained within 5 words. She looked at me dead-eyed and said yes. If that coursework came from Junior Achievement, they are a capitalist indoctrination group that develop fantasy coursework of capitalist utopia for children. They operate very similar to most religious indoctrination. It can be useful when teachers use the coursework to address these for what they are and teach kids to think critically. Hey kids, let's research what housing really costs and what an architect really earns. Ask the students why anyone would use misinformation in educational materials. https://info.ia.org/salary/salary.aspx. I like how they left out food. Better to eat the TV, I guess. Ooh. Send him back to school with photocopies of the mortgage, cable, electricity, and make him correct the teacher. That would be an F that you can be proud your kid earned. It would be a lesson in that sometimes others in charge just want to know they are right, and you need to understand this in life. Facts only sometimes matter. This is a great talking point and a great conversation starter. Take that sheet and expand. 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 Leave nothing out. Mortgage, rent, utilities, streaming accounts, CCs, student loans. Make their eyes bug out. The teachers, not your 7th grader. Wow, that's wild. I don't know where you're located, but I haven't seen monthly rent in that price range since the 90s. early 2000s. And I'm not in a HCOL area either. Most one-bedroom places are around $1,000 now. Not sure who has a cable bill that low either. Maybe for 7 channels. No internet. No phone. Lol. What about all the other utilities? Student loans for that degree. Credit card debt. Car payment, insurance. Health insurance. Food costs. Yikes. I agree with the others. Lay out the reality and send in that spreadsheet to the teacher. My God. I can't imagine how much money I'd have if I was making 6 figures and paying $600 a month for housing. WTF. My high school was very big on career planning and hosted hundreds of career talks from parents and community volunteers. I ended up in a career that was never mentioned and would not have considered based on what was presented. My own kids went to college and majored in subjects that didn't exist when I went to college only 20 years earlier. The idea that there's any realistic planning for high school students choosing between very well known simple careers, do you want to be a nurse, a teacher, or an astronaut, is ridiculous and largely a waste of time. That's wild. I guess they don't want to bum the kids out too bad or dissuade them from college. Architect bachelor's degree? For $120,000? Get out of here. Ha 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 ha. I was once an architectural designer out of school with a bachelor's, and you can go ahead and half the salary and triple the rent. My first apartment with my husband was $680. Could have been $600, but we wanted 2 rooms instead of 1. It's now $1,200. So I'm a little scared where these kids are gonna live for $600. Open mouth smile unless everyone's planning on roommates forever. Monthly housing $600. What planet does this take place on?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.